Hello and welcome to the DSR Daily. I'm David Rothkopf, joined by Riley Fessler and Minna Stein. The whole team is here. I wasn't here yesterday because my dog had to go to the hospital and he has to have surgery. He's like screwed up both his knees because he's a big boy. I'm in a dog-free house for the first time ever. People who are regular listeners to Deep State Radio will not hear the barking they usually hear. Although we are doing our show with Norm Ornstein later today, and his dog usually sits on the couch behind him. So if you're interested in dogs and Deep State Radio, you'll still get your fill. Anyway, Riley, first story.
Dozens of reporters turned in their access badges and exited the Pentagon on Wednesday to protest new restrictions that would subject them to expulsion for reporting unapproved information, whether classified or not. News outlets across the political spectrum were nearly unanimous in rejecting the new policy, arguing that agreeing to not solicit information is fundamentally incompatible with the practice of journalism. Only One America News Network signed on to the new rules. Despite this barrier and the effective demonstration against it, the departing reporters and their organizations vowed to continue providing robust coverage of the military, albeit from a greater distance.
Yeah, this I think is an own goal by Pete Hegseth. Yes, it's fascist. Yes, it's anti-American. Yes, it's probably illegal. It's bad for Americans who are voters. It's bad for American national security. There's nothing good about it. But, Hegseth has not had a success. And alienating the entire press isn't going to help him. And so there are already stories percolating. Will Hegseth be the first to be fired at the end of this year? I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I don't really hope so because I'd rather see RFK Jr. fired by the end of this year, and Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, and Stephen Miller for sure. I don't know. There's a lot. Maybe they could just have a purge from within, and we could make suggestions. I'm sure they'd really like our suggestions. Right, Minna?
I have similar suggestions, so
yeah.
I think that we could make some changes that a lot of people would like.
Yeah, be very popular. Well, I don't know if making them popular is our goal either. Anyway, do you have a story for us, Minna?
I do. The Supreme Court, with its conservative majority, is weighing a Louisiana redistricting case that could significantly weaken the Voting Rights Act by questioning whether race can be considered at all when drawing voting districts. Justices are debating if efforts to create majority black districts to comply with Section 2 of the Act violate the Constitution, with some conservatives suggesting race should never be a factor, while liberals defend its limited use as a remedy for proven discrimination. A ruling favoring Louisiana could limit civil rights challenges to redistricting and reduce minority representation in Congress, potentially benefiting Republicans in future elections.
Look, there are two ways to interpret what the John Roberts Court has done on race and on issues like this over the course of the past several years. One is they actually think that there is no racism in America. However, since racism is obvious on every street corner in America and in many of our institutions, and there is data to support it on the economic side, on the social side, on the political side, that can't be it, right? The other is that they are willfully doing this to help Republicans and because it supports racism in America. These are racist legal decisions. They are politicized legal decisions. What they're not are just legal decisions. Riley.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet with Donald Trump to secure more military support as the war with Russia escalates, marked by massive reciprocal attacks on energy systems. The meeting occurs amid rising tensions, including recent Russian air incursions into NATO airspace, a trend Poland and Estonia have already reported. Zelensky is expected to press Trump specifically for long-range U.S. Tomahawk missiles that could reach major Russian cities, though Trump has not yet committed to new supplies. The heightened conflict intensity, which experts believe can only be sustained for a couple of months, reflects both sides attempting to improve their leverage ahead of a potential new window for negotiations.
Well, Who's against negotiate? Are you against negotiations, Riley?
I'm pro negotiations.
Yeah, pro negotiations. So let's be hopeful. Let's let's let hope triumph over experience once again. We approach this with some skepticism, but let's see what happens. Minna?
15 Democratic governors, representing about a third of the U.S. population, have formed the Governors Public Health Alliance to counteract federal public health funding cuts and policy shifts under the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a known vaccine skeptic. Concerned about weakened CDC capabilities, vaccine access restrictions, and reduced pandemic preparedness, the alliance aims to share resources, expertise, and disease surveillance to protect public health at the state level. The move reflects growing distrust in federal leadership on health issues and a push by states to reassert science-based approaches amid rising disease threats and infrastructure concerns.
Healthcare in the United States is a disaster from top to bottom in every conceivable way, starting with RFK Jr., HHS, attacking vaccines, seeing measles spread across the United States, seeing vaccinations fall across the United States, cutting funding to Medicaid, cutting funding to people who depend on these drugs, the increasing price of drugs, the fact that the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical expenses. So, look, I think the reality is that we have a big problem. It's going to get worse for the next few years, and the Democrats need to get out there and run on it, because it's not political, it's personal. It's your mom having to come home and live with you because Medicaid won't pay for her care anymore. It's people not being able to afford drugs and dying and suffering. It's kids not being able to go to school because there's a measles epidemic. This is the result of the anti-science movement that has been demagogued by MAGA in order to win sort of post-COVID support. For all the wrong reasons, in all the wrong ways. Riley?
A federal judge blocked the Trump administration from laying off thousands of federal workers during the ongoing government shutdown, ruling that the action appears to be politically motivated and exceeds legal authority. U.S. District Judge Susan Ilston cited public comments by the president and other officials stating the layoffs seemed unlawfully targeted at Democrats and were not following the legal requirements for reductions in force. The order, which was a victory for the American Federation of Government Employees Union, immediately halts the issuance of new RIF notices and stops further action on notices issued since October 10th. Justice Department attorneys, who had confirmed that over 4,000 employees had been affected, declined to offer a legal justification for the mass layoff plans during the court hearing.
Yeah, it sounds like a good decision. It sounds like somebody following the law. The judges try to follow the law. Many of the judges out there, whether it's immigration law or laws about the president being able to cut budgets or direct money in ways the Constitution says only the Congress can do it, or laws about targeting people for political reasons or withholding services for political reasons, or laws about emoluments. There's a lot of laws out there, and a lot of courts are saying they should follow the law. The question is whether the Supreme Court's going to come down on the side of those judges or this president. So far, on a regular basis, the lower courts vote for the law. The higher court, the Supreme Court, votes for Trump. It's not a good thing for the United States. We're not going to have a functioning legal system in the U.S. until there are big changes at the Supreme Court level. Okay, we've got a big week, and we've got to go off and get to our big week, the big finish for the week. We've got a special DSR coming up a little later today with Jake Sullivan, the former National Security Advisor. Jake was National Security Advisor earlier this year. Hard to believe, but true. And we're also going to do a special Need to Know with Senator Alyssa Slotkin. We've got another podcast coming up with Representative Ted Lieu tomorrow. So we've got a lot of big name folks coming here to talk to you in depth about issues you care about. So keep coming back here to the DSR Network, and we've got Norm and his dog. Keep coming back for that too. We'll see you around soon and tomorrow. For now, bye-bye.